Howdy folks, welcome to another episode of Yogi Dave's Hobby Podcast, the podcast where I talk about everything from the worlds of tabletop war games, tabletop board games and tabletop RPGs, and everything that encompasses those particular hobbies. So today I'm going to be talking about various things that came out of GenCon and things that I was talking about, or things I was thinking about over the past couple of weeks as well. So, GenCon, biggest convention of the year. Obviously, Games Workshop were there, and this weekend, Warcry came out as well. So, we're going to talk about various things from Games Workshop first, because always we like to put Games Workshop at the front, so we can talk about everything else afterwards. So, the big thing that came out of GenCon from Games Workshop wasn't like the new board games that they were bringing out, the new stuff from the new Aeronautic Imperial Alice game, the new stuff from Underworlds, or the new stuff for Blood Bowl. It is obviously the new Codex Space Marines. Now, me, big fan of the Space Marines. Always had the Space Marine army. Well, Space Wolf army. But, you know, the fact that I already own a Codex Space Marines makes me go, I'm not happy with this fact. But, at the end of the day, this is what happens with Games Workshop. You know, it's an ongoing build of a game. It's not Games Workshop are constantly going to be adding new editions. They're just updating this edition, and let's be honest, Codex Space Marine has been out since the beginning of 40k. 40k is about 2.5 year old, something like that. So a new edition of Codex Space Marine, given everything that's been added to the Space Marines in that time, and this other stuff that they're going to add from Codex Space Marines, it's not particularly surprising. It's just annoying, because obviously I've already spent my money for Codex Space Marine, and I've already spent my money for Codex Space Wolves. So, you know, it kind of gets on your goat a little bit. But you know, to be honest, it's not surprising. Obviously, because I've been playing Games Workshop games for years and years and years. But it is my main complaint about the fact that there's a new Codex Space Wolf. New Codex Space Wolf, because that hasn't come out yet. New Codex Space Marine is that I've already spent money to get a Codex for this edition. Why am I having to pay for another updated version? Because Games Workshop have decided to bring out new stuff. But it's always going to be like that. Games Workshop's always going to be like that. I'm always going to have that little rant before as well. Or that rant when you see it, and you go, oh, for fuck's sake, that's more stuff. That's me having to spend more money for a new Codex. The good thing about it though is it looks like the new Codex Space Marine is like half the thickness of the current one, which is always good because that thing is heavy. And what they'll be doing is releasing Codex supplementals, or Codex supplements. So the first one they brought out, the first ones they're bringing out are the Codex Supplement Ultramarines, Codex Supplement White Scars. And let's be honest, White Scars have been needing an update for a long time. White Scars have been needing an update for this entire edition so far, because they haven't had anything. So obviously, I keep on saying so again. Obviously at GenCon they released this information, and they have added a new Chief Librarian Tigrius of the Ultramarines, who has been Primarist, and then Corsaro Khan, the Chief or the chief can of the White Scars has also been Primaris, and the figures look absolutely beautiful. If I was an Ultramarine player or a White Scar player, I'd be buying them. No doubt about that fact. They are absolutely beautiful figures that have been Primarised up. I'm sure under the next Space Wolves update we'll be getting on. Oh, please. I know a lot of people don't like Primaris, have an issue with them and all the rest of that kind of stuff, because it takes away their original Space Marines, but I play with my Space Wolves all the time. I barely ever play with my Primaris Space Wolves anymore. Mostly because, I mean, at the end of the day, the only Primaris Space Wolves I've got are the Intercessors, the Hellblasters, like the basic ones, the first ones. I haven't got any of the newer ones, or any of the like cool stuff. So, no, it's not like I can have a full army, so I need to have at least some of my Space Wolves. And to be honest, I love playing my Space Wolves the way I play them. I love playing with the Blood Claws and the Sky Claws and the Swift Claws, and just playing in an army of that. But I think they're probably going to update Ragnar Blackmane. I would assume, and Logan Grimner to Primaris versions. So we'll see when they bring out the supplement, if they do actually bring out a Codex Space Wolf supplement, rather than just bringing out a new Codex Space Wolves, which again wouldn't surprise me. But there's been a few things that have been brought out that or the announcement of them being brought out have made people go a wee bit crazy, let's be honest. So there's the Invictor Tactical Warsuit. This is not a Dreadnought. This is a Space Marine pilot in what looks like a Dreadnought but isn't a Dreadnought. Well, technically it is a Dreadnought because it looks like a Dreadnought, but it's not like you've got the guy in the sarcophagus riding it until he dies. So the thing with this thing is it's fucking with lots of years of lore, or lore, as I normally say it. So it's a lightly armoured walker rather than a Dreadnought that's obviously a mobile heavy weapons platform and a frontline brawler. It's called an Invictor Tactical Warsuit. This lightly armoured walker is often found fighting alongside units from the Vanguard Strike Force on recon missions. Obviously, the Vanguard guys, having a space boat, a Dreadnought is kind of not that. Dreadnoughts are not silent. They're not stealthy. Whereas apparently this is is designed with sound dampening materials, enabling it to move great speeds with minimal noise output in support of the living pilot Vanguard brethren. So it's a living pilot, it's not a dead pilot. So you can concealed deploy one of these things, and it's got a pistolised heavy bolter straps to its hip. The figure that they've shown, it has actually got like a fully posable hand. It could. So you could use that in close combat, but then it's also got a heavy bolter strap to the side. It could be used like pistol style. That's funny. I don't get what people are going off and on about it. So all the Primaris Vanguard units are going to also, that were in Shadowspear, going to receive their own kits. They're the last fusils that the infiltrators have, or the eliminators had, are going to be there. Obviously, all the new stuff that came out in Shadowspear is getting their own kits, and they've got a new tank, an Impulsor. It's a dedicated transport for the Primaris, which is about time. Let's be honest. It looks a bit like no, let's be honest, it looks entirely like the back end of the what you got, repulsor, and its undercarriage have been strapped onto a Rhino. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, love the Rhino, have several of them, but it's like, that didn't take a lot of thought, really, did it? But yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to have an actual transport from the Primaris. I might actually use them. I might actually buy some Vanguard at some point, but pardon me. Yeah, it looks good. Looks like it'll be interesting. What they also announced at the same time is a new set of kill team, a new starter set. Obviously they ran out of they sold out of the previous version. This one has the Tau and the Fire Warriors, the kill teams that were released. They're putting them in the box set this time. So it's the Space Marine Reavers, so it's the Space Wolf Fangs of Ulfric, and the Fire Warriors are the Advanced Team Star Pulse, and also obviously the Sector Mechanicus terrain, rather than the Kill Team terrain that they brought out, which, you know, fair enough, it's a little bit of a different look to the Kill Team, but it's obviously the same rules, it's just a new starter set. They also announced what is the name of this thing again? Psychic Awakening, I think they called it. So it's a new, I think this must be the new event that's coming up. I haven't actually watched the video yet, but I just saw a wee clip of it about Psychic Awakening that is going to have a significant impact on every 40k faction. That'll be interesting to see. But it says it looks like the Dark Millennium is getting a lot darker. Dark Millennium didn't need it to be much darker, let's be honest. Right, so that was Saturday, the GenCon. That was announced. On Friday, they announced Aeronautic Imperialis. So anyone who's been playing Games Workshop games for a number of years will remember the Specialist Games group team that used to be part of Games Workshop. They did a whole lot of games. They did Necromunda, they did Mod Time, they did all the Mod Time ports. So there was the Lustria one, there was various different things. Blood Bowl. I think they kept 40k Epic running for quite a while. I can't remember now, to be perfectly honest with you. It was that long ago, and my brain has had so many things go through it up until now. Aeronautic Imperialist was a game that they did have out, and it was little planes and little fighter things that they used to run about that were actually part of Epic too. So what they've done, if they announced they're going to release this now, it's done by the same guys that do Adeptus Titanicus. Excuse me. So I'm assuming some of the mechanics that are from Titanicus will be in part of this, but it is 41st Millennium, so it's not Horus Heresy era. The pictures that they've released, obviously because it wasn't GenCon, I can't tell you what it actually looked like, because I'm sure they probably had it there, as Dakka Jets and Thunderbolts and Marauders. It's different types of Dakka Jets. I'm not sure, well, they look like different types of Dakka Jets. It just says Dakka Jets and Thunderbolts, but there's obviously some of them are Marauders as well. So the first box set, or the main box set, will be Imperial Navy Nox, but they've said it's not going to be a one-off. Going to have ongoing support and expansions that bring challenges to the game. So with all the what I call specialist games, A lot of people call them specialist games because that's what they were back in the day. It is all going to Forge World. Obviously, Games Workshop just do the main lines, and then the Warhammer Underworld and all the rest of that kind of stuff. So, segueing very well. It's Beastgrave from Warhammer Underworlds. Now, I have no idea what Underworlds is like because I've never played it, but they've got updated. They've updated obviously for the new season of Beastgrave, or Underworlds even, and it's called Beastgrave. They are releasing some new figures. So there is the Grashnak's the spoilers. So that's Beastmen. So the first Beastmen released for the Mortal Realms specifically. So it's new Bestigors, Ungors, and Great British Shaman. They look very nice, I will say. Beastmen have been needing an update for a while. Yeah, they look really, really nice. If I played Beastmen, I would probably buy it, but I don't, so I won't. Also, Skaith's Wild Hunt offers us a new insight into the Mortal Realms. First look at Carnothy, an elf-like creature with a savage style of their own, offering a fast and highly specialised group of fighters. They're a deadly, flexible warband capable of cutting down enemies at any range. Now, they've got one of those, is it the Silver Tower? Like the wee dog, kind of lion looking thing. But they've also got, it's top half elves, bottom half beastmen really. Because they've got like the cloven hooves and the like the furred legs. But they've also got a centaur. Now, centaur looks cool, don't get me wrong, and they've all got like action poses and stuff. Look really, really nice. I seem to remember that Wood Elves having centaurs before. Not like elf centaurs, but full-on centaurs. I know the Chaos had them because my older brother had some of them, but I can't remember, to be perfectly honest. It's been that long ago. It's like second or third edition. I remember them. But, you know, I'm old. My memory gets mixed up. The other thing they wrote, thingied on, I'm sure this was Friday, might have been Saturday. No, it was Friday. Is the new Blood Bowl team. So it's Lizardmen. Obviously, you've got your Sauruses, you've got your Skinks, you've got Chameleon Skink. Chameleon Skink looks pretty cool actually because he's got his tongue split, thingied out and caught onto the ball. That looks pretty cool. They look nice. I mean, all the Blood Bowl figures look nice. I mean, it's Games Workshop. There's very few figures that they bring out these days that don't look nice. And they've got a Slan, Slan statue for turn marker for the team. I think on Thursday they announced a couple of board games as well. But they are US, Canada, and Germany, I think, only. Some of the figures are part of other things that are getting released at some point, but I don't want to really go into too much detail because I know some of my listeners are from US and Canada and Germany, but the thing about these things, and it annoys me, is the fact that they are like, oh, we're only going to release them here, here, and here. It's like, well, why announce them on the website when you know the rest of the world can't get hold of them unless they want to pay stupid amounts of money? But I mean, the thing is, the Stormvault is a cooperative adventure in the Mortal Realms. You get to choose from Stormcast heroes. I think they're all part of actual games and the figures, like, but it's not that I want to actually play it. It's just the figures not being available to the rest of us annoys me. Combat Arena It's using the same combat system as Gore Chosen, but it's new game of arena battles pit using against friends in a furious bout set in the depths of a spaceship on its way to Blackstone Fortress. The figures are going to be part of Blackstone Fortress Escalation later this year, so you don't need to worry about that, but still annoying. And then Dreadfane, entry version of Warhammer Underworlds. So it's got a couple of Stormcast and a couple of Night Haunt. Is it Night Haunters? Yeah, so Dreadfane, Combat Arena and Stormvault are the ones they announced on Thursday. Board games they announced on Thursday. I'm pretty sure. So the biggie, other than obviously Codex Space Marines, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, because I think they're pre-ordered next week, is Warcry. Now Warcry obviously came out on Saturday. It came out with, I think, the box set and then 2 of the factions they announced. I can't remember off the top of my head now. So basically Warcry is the skirmish version of skirmish combat in the Mortal Realms. It's obviously not a skirmish version of Age of Sigmar. It was a skirmish version of Age of Sigmar, but it's not like the Age of Sigmar rules, if you get what I mean. So it's set in a place called the 8 Points, which is filled with chaos stuff, obviously. What is Warcry? Fight thrilling tactical skirmishes with only a handful of models and fraction of the space taken in a traditional wargame. Standalone game system, Warcry has been built from the ground up to be balanced, fast and importantly fun. So ultimately to start your journey is obviously the starter set. Build and battle with 2 warbands, fight your way through the ruined city with scenery and boards, unleash packs of chaos monsters, and that's obviously get the code rulebook. So it is. The book contains core rules for Warcry plus expansion options for open narrative and match play. Forge your legend with the campaign for 6 chaos warbands and 9 warbands hailing from other grand alliances. Discover how you grow and develop your warband between battles. So essentially this is Age of Sigmar more time. That's what it is to me. It's the Age of Sigmar version of more time, because it's a ruined city, it's a shattered city, you get chaos running about it, you've got all the other alliances running about it. That's essentially what it is. Obviously the rules are going to be completely different, but they're using the same idea. Now, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's actually a pretty good idea, but you know, I'll be interested to see how it pans out before I actually take a shot at it myself. I mean, don't get me wrong, the figures that are coming out for it look absolutely amazing. The terrain that they've got in it looks brilliant. I think it's been reused from somewhere else, I can't remember where it is, but they've got expansion sets that are coming out. So the Corpse Rack Mausoleum, the Shattered Stormvault, and Ruined City, obviously. So they've got the Ravaged Lenses. They've got loads of stuff about it. So if you want to have a real in-depth look at it, look on the Warcry Age of Sigmar /Warcry. So it's ageofsigmar.com/Warcry. So they've only got the 6 warbands up here from Chaos at the moment. You got Iron Golem, Untamed Beast, the Corvus Cabal, Cypher Lords, the Unmade, and the Splintered Fang. And then you've got the Order, so Stormcast, Daughters of Cain, and Idenith Deepkin. And then Death, which is the Night Hunt, the Legions of Nagash, and Fleet Shear's Court. Then you've got Destruction, Gloom, Spike Gets, the Iron Jaws, and the Bone Splitters. So to me, from coming from the original Warhammer. Stormcast Eternals are new anyway. Daughters of Cain, Dark Elves, Iron Deepkin, Water Elves, Night Haunt, they're new. Legions of Nagash are the undead, and Flesh Eater's Court are vampire counts. Golem Spike is goblins, Iron Jaws are normal orcs, and then Bone Splitters are savage orcs. So these are all the different factions that are in the core rulebook. There's another couple, I'm absolutely certain. I cannot see the thing for them here. The Unmade. I mean, the figures look absolutely beautiful, but you can do that for a game like this. You can get somebody to do loads and loads and loads of stuff, because it's little small groups of figures, so they don't have a massive amount of stuff to do for each group, which means you can go off in one with them. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, at some point I will probably play it, but right now, other stuff to do. Also, this week was the the pre-order for the Enforcers for Necromunda. These are the updated, well, they're not Arbites, the Palanite Enforcers, so they're not quite Adeptus Astartes, not Adeptus Arbites, so they're not the Imperial Law, they're the Governor's Law Enforcers. When Necromunda first came out, see the icon thing, you actually get like a stank for going over a manhole. The icon of that is actually what's on their uniforms. So, I mean, they look pretty cool, and I will probably pick them up at some point. But again, don't need them right now. And having them as part of what I would probably do with them, to add them to my big Imperial Guard army, is use them as stormtroopers, rather than like anything else that I've got for that particular army. So, you know, at some point I will pick them up. It's just when I pick them up is the thing. So yeah, that's everything Games Workshop for this particular week. There was a couple of other things that caught my eye at GenCon this year. The main one was the second edition of Pathfinder. Now, I have played the first edition Pathfinder, and it's essentially 3.5 updated. So it's D&D 3.5 updated. There are masses and masses and masses and masses of books that came out for it, and loads of scenarios and all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm hoping with second edition, I've not read anything about it, I've not seen anything, I've not read, when I say I've not read anything about it, I've not like made my way about like actually looking for stuff to read about it. I never play tested it, because we were in the middle of other stuff when the playtest came out. It's just, what I'm hoping is they built their own system, rather than using that old D&D system, because the old D&D system was a bit broken from years and years of messed about. I mean, they fixed a lot of the stuff, but at the same time, it's the same stuff. The stuff that was broken in 3.5 is the same stuff that's still broken in 5th edition. So it's not like there's any difference between that and that. So I'm hoping what they've done is what they've done with Starfinder, and basically updated it, changed how the rules work in most ways, from what I've seen of Starfinder anyway. That's what they've done. They've taken the best bits of Pathfinder and improved them. Now, I've not actually played Pathfinder, so I can't say for sure, but you know, if you take a good set of rules, a good system, and put them in to the Pathfinder world, then that'll be good. It's the same as, you know, any system though. You want it, as long as you've got a good world to play in, the system doesn't really matter for the most part. As long as you're having fun, but you know, as long as you've got a good world to play in, system doesn't really matter as long as the system is good. And don't get me wrong, 3.5 Pathfinder was a reasonable set of rules, but there was a lot of loopholes and pockles and stuff that players could, especially power players, and players that had their heads screwed on and built min-max. Players or PCs, they could exploit those loopholes and things were easy. Trust me, I know. I've seen it happen, and I've seen it being played that way. But you know, I'm hoping what Paizo have done with this, it's gone back to the drawing board, put their own system together, and that'll be what we get to play with second edition. They did release like a really cool, like old school D&D covered Pathfinder book at GenCon. I think it was like a limited edition, or the core rule book. But I mean, from the picture that's on the core rule book that I've seen, it looks pretty cool. Anyway, didn't need that. It's the same kind of artwork as you see throughout the Pathfinder books. You know, that same kind of cartoony, but not too cartoony, artistic style that runs through the entire of the Paizo line for Pathfinder, from first edition. Anyway, so you know, that particular style is quite nice that they've done. I'll be talking about art a wee bit more, and over the next wee while, obviously because of Legends and having to get art done for that, and wanting to do some art myself, learning how to be an artist, learning how to do art at various levels. You know, it's like anything else, it's a skill that you got to learn. But that's something we'll talk about later as well. So the other things were the second edition of Zombicide. Now, I have Zombicide Black Plague, and obviously this is coming from Simon. Now, what the talking about is a streamlined version, streamlined, fast to play, and getting in battles right away. So what it says is you'll be able to, long time players, be able to update their current collection with the new rules. So obviously I've invested not in the whole franchise, I only invested in Black Plague. Didn't have the money when Green Horde was about, or the space one. But I'm not sure what I haven't seen a whole lot about it, other than the announcement. And I'm hoping to see what comes from it. Another thing was Fantasy Flight. Don't know whether you know, they've got the franchise for Marvel games. So what they're doing is a living card game. I'm assuming it's very much like a Keyforge, and that it's a living card game, but this one is a cooperative one. So there have been cooperative Marvel card games before. I've played one of them before, I think, or I've seen it before. Played the DC one, definitely, but obviously this is a new Fantasy Flight one. So it's a card game. lets you take on the roles of different heroes as they fight to stop various villains. Scenario-driven sessions and decks unique to each villain help each playthrough feel different. So obviously they've taken their knowledge from previous 11 card games, and they're going to build it into this particular franchise, which, you know, is cool, because I like that idea of, you know, the cooperative, because obviously Fantasy Flight 11 card games up until this point, at least the ones that I've seen, are all so all the, as I've seen, all the corporate the what you call it, Fantasy Flight card games I've played to this point have all been non-cooperative, adversarial is the word I'm looking for. But I like Fantasy Flight's way of doing things, in that it's not like a collectible card game. It's you've got decks, you use those decks, and that's the decks you use. Well, to be honest, the only one I've actually played myself is Keyforge. So, you know, I get that. Keyforge is actually, you know, every deck is unique, and there's an app to tell you what's in that particular deck, so nobody can cheat. Not apart from the fact that everything is, you know, every deck has the Archon name printed on the back, and it's got every deck has a little card that's got the list of the cards that are in that deck. So even if you lost that, you could find it online and go, well, this is what's in my deck, and you know, your opponent can check it, and it's that's the thing. It's one of those games that can't be rigged, because you've got an excessive amount of money to buy cards. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, you buy a load of decks of cards, and you can have all the best ones and sell all the worst ones, but you know, you can't overload it with the best cards. It's all, you have those cards and that's it. I like that idea. And you know, the overloading the decks is what put me off Magic the Gathering. What else took my fancy? Oh yeah, one of the things, I've seen them already at another show, but it was they had the Bandai Primaris Space Marines at GenCon. They only had one the last time I saw it. Might be the same figure but in a different pose. But yeah, they had them. They were pretty cool. The only thing is, you know, are you really going to buy it? I don't know what market it's for, to be honest, either. A lot of that Bandai stuff's just for America and Japan and China and places like that. It's not like for Europe, or you don't get it in Europe without scouring the place. So yeah, that was another thing that I saw that I thought, that might be interesting to have. But again, like anything else, it's, have you got the space for it? What are you going to do with it? Is it just going to be, I mean, it obviously is just for display, because you can't play with it, because it's massive compared to the actual figures. I mean, unless you were playing with a bunch of your mates and you were playing that scale kill team, but then they would have to come out with orcs and Tau and all the rest of the other things that you can play in kill team for you to actually be able to use it in kill team, so as a full scale kill team game. So unless you played Space Marines against Space Marines, in which case I can understand that, but you know, yeah, I don't think that would work, to be honest. I mean, they're nice figures. I mean, nice miniatures. And they're not even miniatures, they're models. I think they're probably about my chest size, my like torso size figures, miniatures, not figures, they're miniatures, or models, whatever you want to call them. There's the latest Fantasy Flight Arkham Horrors game called Arkham Horror Final Hour. So this is you battling against Cthulhu and his mates. Plays under 60 minutes. cooperative experience to hold off an eldritch invasion. Very much in the same vein as what's the name of it? The game that I have, Elder Sign. Except obviously this is a different, completely different mechanics with this one from the look of it. Obviously this is an actual board game, whereas Elder Sign is cards. So new houses for Keyforge coming along into the game, so that looks interesting. So that should be, I think that should be some different things for the players to play in that. They did announce Cyberpunk 2077 card game from Simon, but as I'm not entirely thingied with the idea of Cyberpunk 2077, I'll probably be giving that a miss. They did announce a Wolfenstein board game. I am actually interested in that because I love the Wolfenstein games. So I'll probably have a look at that when it comes out. So that's from Archon Studio. So they didn't announce much of it, but I like the games, so I'm gonna have a look at that. Mythic Games announced Time of Legends Destinies and Time of Legends Joan of Arc is getting relaunched. So with Destinies, they're joining up with Lucky Duck Games for a new app-based narrative board game set in the world of the Legends of Joan of Arc. Time of Legends Joan of Arc. And obviously Time of Legends Joan of Arc's coming back with a Kickstarter this year, with new expansions and stuff. New Malifaux stuff, obviously. Malifaux and Weird are getting on the Pirate Act. So the new crews are coming out. You've got Brian and Bones. You've got Colette core box. You get the new Lucius core box, and obviously the new 3rd edition books that they brought about. Yeah, so as with Malifaux, always I'm going to go at it. So there's a piratical alternate to Molly Swed Pidge crew, the Resurrectionists. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so the thing with the Lucius code box is I've already got Lucius. Does it means I have to go buy a new Lucius? That'll be annoying. Anyway, my mind wandered when I was looking at the pictures. Sorry, happens all the time when I look at the Malifaux stuff. Obviously I talked about that. Right, so Tabletop Troubadour and Simon are teaming up to do some scenarios for Black Plague with Hagglethorn Hollow's terrain. Now, much as I would love to have a shot at that, I cannot afford it at all, even slightly. What else did I see? Oh, obviously the new Fallout RPG is on its way. And there was loads of stuff that just didn't interest me in the slightest. because it was games that I don't play. Yes, Infinity, new Infinity stuff. So Operation Wildfire. So it'll be available today. New faction Infinity, the Shafasti of the Combined Army, and it's got a new O12 group. They were also doing their new dungeon called Infinity Defiance, giving players chances to try out the game. I will probably pick up Infinity Defiance. There's not any probably about it. I will be picking up at some point and playing that game because I love Infinity. It's going to Kickstarter, so when it Kickstarters I'll probably, if I can afford it, have a shot at it, or do a deal with people and take a shot at that. So it's all about GenCon today, wasn't it? It's all about GenCon today. Obviously the Ennies, can't even remember how you pronounce it, were at GenCon as well. And while I did vote, I have a bit of an issue with the Ennies in that it is a popularity vote. Now I know a lot of the time the right companies and the right products pick up the awards, but at the same time, and again, it's all down to personal preference, and it's all down to what you think is going to colour your opinion. But at the same time, a lot of it is like a presidential campaign or any political campaign. It's about convincing people to vote for you over something else, and I think it's a bit of a shame because it's the biggest convention, it's the biggest awards in gaming, and maybe it should be professionals judging it rather than actual people going, oh, I like that. I mean, obviously you have your fan awards, you have fan choice for this and fan choice for that, but the reality is a lot of people will go buy a game because it's won an Ennie or it's won various other ones, but they go out and buy it and they go, well, this isn't any fun. Obviously there are games and stuff that's the exception to that. I say World Anvil is the best tool I've used, so I get why it got one a gold. But again, I mean, that was down to the voting, but at the same time it is a good system. It's a good tool for doing what it does exactly as it says on the tin, and it works for lots of different people. But there are the ones that you go, aye, okay, I can get why that one, because loads of people. But a lot of the time, and I considered it, but it's like a lot of the time people will go, oh, I know that, I'll vote for that. I've not actually played it, or I don't know them don't know it very well, but I'll still put this vote in for it. And I don't really think that is how an award should go. It should be, somebody who has a professional background in gaming, and that particular kind of gaming should be the one that should be the ones that decide. And obviously there's logistics and monetary issues with that, but I don't know. That's what I think. I mean, I only voted for the stuff that I knew. A lot of the categories I never voted on because I was like, well, I don't know anything in this one. So yeah, that's my thought on that, and it's a very short thought on it because I'm not going to get into a rant or anything like that. So what I was going to talk to you about earlier was art. in Legends of Hammer and Sharon. So 2 secs. Let me check something first. Right. Obviously, with Legends of Hammer and Sharon, we are going to need artwork in the books. So to that end, what I have done is set up a Patreon. Now, I know for YouTube and the podcast I wasn't going to set up a Patreon, but this is an entirely different thing altogether. This is for the RPG. Now, you're not going to get nothing for pledging to be a Patreon. What will happen is there's a number of different tiers. For everything but the $1 a month tier, everyone will get at least one core rulebook at the end. Once everything's said and done, when we release, we'll get at least one core rulebook. We will be doing a Kickstarter at the end, but yes, sorry. So every tier, other than $1 one, once we're all said and done, we'll be getting a copy of at least one core rulebook or a supplement send book. So at the end, we will be doing a Kickstarter when we're going to do the release. But this is in order for us to pay for the art, because the art is not cheap, or at least the artists I want are not cheap, and it wouldn't cheapen the experience. Obviously, I'm going to be trying to do some art myself, so you know, it's not all. It's not us all having to, spend lots and lots and lots of money to get all this art, and it's all the epic stuff, all the really good stuff is going to be done by other artists, but then I'll do other stuff like portraits and stuff like that. So it's up on Patreon just now. It's under Legends of Hammer and Sharon. There are 4 tiers. There's £1, there's a $1 one, there's a $5 one, there's a $10 one, and there's a $15 one. So it's set out in the explanation how long you have to be a Patreon for to get a free rulebook. Well, not even a free rulebook, it's what a rulebook you paid for, but you've also paid for, part of your payment is paid for the art. That's it. Obviously, if you decide to do Patreon for X amount of months, then it means you get a free one of this. It also means you don't need to, when we do Kickstarter, you don't need to get this one. You get this tier of this Kickstarter, or that tier of the Kickstarter. So it means, yes, you paid for it very early, but you're in at the ground floor. Patreon's also a good way of showing people that we're for real, that we're actually going to be doing what we're going to be doing. So that's it, basically. That's it in a nutshell. So that is pretty much it for me for today. I will be back again next week. Hopefully I'll be back on schedule as usual, and I'm going to say good day and happy hobby, guys.